तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः.
Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatatam Bhuigrunanti Ye Bhurida Jana. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and the conversations of June 30. Yes, long back it has started. Monday, June 30, 1884. And the conversations continue. Thakur said lastly, the master was pleased with the Pandit's humility. He praised him to the devotees. He has such a nice nature. And he talks about eating a crocodile. But the Pandit makes a joke there. But one can hurt a crocodile by throwing a spear into its belly. So Thakur is ignoring that, smiling. But he comes back to his thesis. He comes back to his topic. What good is there in reading a whole lot of scriptures? He does not ask us to not read scriptures, but a whole lot of scriptures. This is according to the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad itself. It says, Na anudhyayan bahun shabdan vacho viglapanam hitat. Don't study many words. That is only tiring your one. So, Thakur has already told that from scripture take the essence. So, going on reading scripture in the Brihadaranyaka itself or somewhere, Shastra Vasana, it becomes a disease like mine. It becomes an addiction or desire for scriptures. So our aim is to realize God. And everything has to be done only from that direction. That should be remembered. What good is there in the study of philosophy? Darshan. They are systems of thought. What is the use of talking big? So that is Shankara's Vagvaikari. So what is necessary then? If like this, in order to learn archery, one should first aim at a banana tree. So the experience or concentration of the mind should be learned gradually. This is according to Patanjali's science. one should first aim at a banana tree, then at a reed. কোথায়? ও কলা গাছ, তারপর সর গাছ, ঠিক আছে? Read, you know. Now, sher is actually a thick, thorny grass.
Oh.
But we can also take like a cane tree.
Cane tree, also.
Sher, you know, Subramanyam is also called Sharavanam because he was born in a Shara forest.
Oh.
And Shara is also the name of an arrow. So it is the grass of that type. So Kala is Kalagaj, banana tree is a thick thing, then smaller thing. Then at a week, only Jyoti, very small. And then at a flying bird. So when you become expert, then you can judge the relative speeds and hit him. If you hit where this flying bird is now, it won't reach. It will go away. So more and more, now flying bird we can take as a subtle object. কোথায় গেল? এই কথায় না? কোথায় দেখেছিল? হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ। তারপর চলতে, তারপর উড়ে যাচ্ছে যে পাখি। At the beginning, one should concentrate on God with form. For that, all this. Because gross object is a form. Very important, huh? Practical of sadhana. Then there are devotees who are beyond the three gunas. They are eternally devoted to God like Narada. These devotees behold Krishna as Chinmaya or spirit. His abode is Chinmaya, his devotee is as Chinmaya, to them God is eternal. His abode is eternal, his devotee is eternal. So this shows a new idea, a sort of harmonizing Vaishnava with Vedantis. And I've been thinking a lot. Yesterday we had a lot of discussion there in Dakshineshwar. That Thakur has brought something very new. He talks of Sagun normally after Nirgun. Normally. But take Gopal Erma's example. Nowhere it is mentioned that it is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Nowhere. This was pointed to me by some other devotees. And Thakur is telling, you had everything. You need not do anything. So Thakur is defining her state as the goal of life. And repeatedly she asked 3 times, have I reached everything? Yes, everything. Need I not do anything? Need not do. But if you want to do for the health of this sake. And this is the final goal. Thus means Saguna Bhakti, if developed into vision, direct intimacy like Gopal Herma, then it is Mukti. It is mentioned in the Leela Prasanga that toward the end, she thought of herself as a sannyasini and she used to use sannyasini dress. And the all-pervading realization is described. That is, she saw in the chariot and people carrying the chariot everywhere, she saw the Chaitanya. But Nirvikal Samadhi is not mentioned. And this also, after further development, that all-pervading. So when Sagun is there, it is Sakar. And direct realization, yes, somebody saw some glimpse or darshan, that is not the main thing. But a living form which is always accompanying her. So it can be described as intimacy, that is what Thakur calls that Vijnana. So Sagun Brahma, intimacy, direct vision for 2 months. And then it was withdrawn because she could not have lived in the body if it continues more than 2 months. And previously we have read here, Thakur is telling that the Jnani attains Nirvikalpa Samadhi called Jada Samadhi and the Bhakta attains Bhav Samadhi. So this Bhav Samadhi and continuation in Bhav Samadhi, getting Bhav Samadhi at will, and which makes us develop an intimacy with the personal God. That Thakur takes as Mukti. And straight away he is telling again and again that is Mukti. So this distinction between Karma Mukti and this. So this we see as a new thought in comparison to the old traditional thoughts, or a reconciliation between the Vaishnavas and the Vedanta. And that is here. This also was pointed out to me. Chinmay Dham, Chinmay Sham, we translate Dham as Swarupa. But Dham is also the abiding place. And Chinmay, Bhakta. This, of course, if a person of realization, then it is same. Chinmay, Bhagavad in some places, scripture. And the simile is given that water everywhere, by bhakti, it freezes like a ice. And by jnana, Surya, it melts. And then Thakur has said that there are certain places in the ocean where it is eternally ice. So all this supports what the Vaishnavas say, Nitya and Leela, Vaishnavas say Nitya Leela. That is that ice example. So now as Thakur is telling, let us have something out of that. What is the use in discussing philosophy? That is what Thakur is telling. And this gradual meditation beautifully is given by examples. In Patanjali, in some gross object like that, then subtle object, Thakur says banana, then reed, then weak, then flying bird. And this is talking about the Gunatita Nitya Siddhas, like Narada. Those who reason and speculate following the process of Neti Neti do not accept the incarnation of God. That is the main thing, that they end in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Hazara says, well, that divine incarnation is only for the Bhakta and not for the Jnani. Because the Jnani is quite contented with his ideal, I am he. Now here again and again, Thakur talks like that. And we should remember the Jnani is a mold of the mind. He is not talking of the fully realized person. Because whom will get more Jnani than Shankaracharya? And Shankaracharya has so much devotion. You know, he has composed stotras for all the Dashavataras. And his Paramaguru, Gaudpath, the supreme Jnani, also believes in Narayana Rishi, which was an incarnation of God. So Jnani here means a man of analytical mind and negative in approach. And they culminate there, like Totapuri. Swamiji wanted to become like that. Thakur saved him before. Jo kuch hai sab tu hi hai. And then Swamiji was allowed to go to Nirvikal Samadhi. So that we know, transcendent immanent. But this, before Samadhi, to talk of Mukti, we say Thakur clearly telling, you have done everything, you need not do anything. And if you want to do, well, because the mind will do something, do it for the sake of this health. So this is called love for the incarnation, love for the God manifested. And the mind can rest there. That is what if you want to do. She said that she threw away the mala. And then after some time she thought, something I have to do, let me keep a mala. And as he has told, I will do it for his sake. Now let us concentrate on her. 2 days back, when I went to Kamarati, from BT Road, the moment we entered Kamarati, I thought we have come to a very holy place. Thought means I felt clearly. A feeling similarly to my feeling in Kurukshetra and the whole of Kamarpukur, Kamarhati. And when we came back to the BT Road, I thought it is over. Same thing had happened in Kurukshetra. I never knew the boundaries or definite Kurukshetra. But at one point, I said, now that feeling is not there. And the devotee who was with me said, yes, Maharaj, we have crossed Kurukshetra. So then I thought, is it something old here? Or it is due to the glory of Gopalarma? No, something like that feeling reoccurred, something like that in Paniyati. But that was my experience in Kamarati. And Thakur is telling that he had everything. So that makes us think. Thakur is telling something new, which has not been told or emphasized by any Vedanti before. So new light is coming every day, but today the thought has come yesterday also talking with him, that it is a reconciliation between the Vaishnavas and Vedantis. And especially Thakur's example of that ice which never melts. So, again coming back, let us not enter into that detail. As soon as we get something, let us see. But Thakur's emphasis here is only study of scriptures is of no help. Philosophy is not of much help. And talking big is of not much help. So Hazara belongs to, in his idea, that group. So he is telling that divine incarnation is only for the Bhakta and not for the Jnani. So I have to take Jnani as a mold. Because the Jnani is quite contented with his ideal, I am he, so hum. I would always point out that in this I is there. Jnani's ideal should be, Thakur has told, monk. So Thakur says, as soon as you talk, it becomes Vishishtadvaita. So this Aham Brahmasmi is never accepted by my mind according to my Guru's teaching as the expression of final realization. But when we talk, what else can we say? The man of final realization does not talk. Understood? Sri Ramakrishna and the devotees remained silent a while. The Pandit resumed the conversation. Silent for a while means everybody becomes introspective and thinks what is. Sri Ramakrishna also, because he has told this thing. Pandit, sir, how does one get rid of callousness? Sometimes what happens, there is a school of thought, philosophy of sadhana called Stoicism. It becomes similar to Sita Prajna, but not at all like that. It is like a stone. No feeling in the mind. No happiness, no misery. A Sita Prajna is never described like that. No sukha dukkha. Ananda is permanent with him. And he has deep feelings also for the world, if not for himself. As against this, I shall tell you, in Buddhism, there are two distinct thought currents. You have heard the old words Mahayana, Hinayana, Northern Buddhism and Southern Buddhism. Northern Buddhism is called these days Zen Buddhism. Zen is an apabhransha of dhyana, while the Southern Buddhism from Burma, one Mr. Goenka was serving in Burma and he learned there. And he has popularized it throughout India. You know, some governments like Rajasthan government gives full pay leave for you to attend any Vipassana camp. Now in Vipassana, the final goal is Stoicism. So I would call it halfway house. You do not realize Brahman. Your mind becomes free from vikara. That also a person mad after Buddhism, that Vipassana, has opened a center for Vipassana. He says, some 20% of my vikaras are gone. Though he has been practicing for the last 10 years. So in Vipassana, what is done? Observe the changes. Gross from the breathing, then the subtlest changes in your mind simultaneously changes in the world. And then you know that the world and your mind is continuously changing. What is continuous in Buddhism? The change is continuous. There is nothing constant subject. So this produces stoicism. And that has happened in this Pandit due to dry discussion of philosophy. That he is talking now. So he is expressing his want before Thakur after listening all this. Sir, how does one get rid of callousness? Laughter makes me think of muscles and nerves. Grief makes me think of the nervous system. Now I'll tell you my experience. Mine means not my personal. I had a surgeon friend in the mission. He has passed away just 1 or 2 years back. MS. So he, during training center, he said, you people talk of meditation in the heart. But as soon as I think of my heart, I feel all those things. Muscles, the pumping system, the lungs and all that. How to think of God there, how to think of consciousness. So this sometimes, ways and means are there, but our habit makes this obstruction. Master smiling. That is why Narayana Shastri used to say, the harmful effect of the study of the scriptures is that it encourages reasoning and arguing. So here it is not vipassana and all that. A result of too much of argument. And argument is based upon the facts gathered by the sense organs. So these muscles and all that. Pandit, is there no way for us then? You see, something else come to the mind. Previously, the thought in the Ramakrishna Mission, still go back. Those who study science do not come to the mission. Only students of philosophy or Sanskrit or those subjects, they become sadhus. Then it was seen that it is not so. Then professionals, especially doctors, can never become good sadhus. That was the facts. Then any professional like engineer, they cannot become good sadhus. Because they have to constantly think of the machine, physical thing. The doctor has to think of the body as a dead body, as a living organism. No consciousness. And if you see nowadays, our recruited sadhus, most of them, one thing, has foreign return. Secondly, they are all professionals. So those thoughts have been transcended. But there was some truth in that. So here Thakur is telling, thinking, reasoning, philosophy itself is an obstruction. Is there no way for us then? Master, yes, there is the path of discrimination. So Jnana Yoga is for you, but don't argue. Just follow what is truth and what is untruth. That should be the only thought. Shankar says in his commentary on the Gita that Gita is the sum and substance of all Vedantas. Seeing that many commentators have done pada, padartha, vakyartha method of commenting on it. That is the system today even in the Orthodox Vedantis. But I find, Shankar says, as a result of that, people have hundreds of conflicting views about reality. So I am trying to do only Vivekata. I shall fix my thought only in what is real and what is unreal, and on that basis I will do the commentary. So that it becomes easy, smooth for people to understand the spirit of Gita. That is what he said. Now, my thinking depends upon another fact. Thakur has said, all jackals cry in the same voice. And then do we have to accept that Shankara is not a jackal? That is not so. And Thakur has never said that what Shankar says is wrong. So it's a reconciliation. That also is true, this also is true. Both are paths. Here, in a song occurs the line, ask her son discrimination about the truth. You know that song? He says you have two wives and one is Ajnana, one is Vidya, one is Avidya. Reject that Avidya. Take only Vidya with you. And she has two sons, Vivek and Vairagya. And ask that Vivek about the next path. You read this in Gospel. The way lies through discrimination, renunciation, and passionate yearning for God. Renunciation here means Vairagya, Viveka, Vairagya, and yearning. Now, this yearning is Thakur's constant theme. Unless a man practices discrimination, he cannot utter the right words. One time, after expounding religion at great length, Pandit Samadhi said, God is dry. You know that, no? Thakur has again and again told this. Samadhi says that we should supply rasam by our bhakti to God. He reminded me of the man who once said, my uncle's cow shed is full of horses. Because horses are not kept in cow shed. So a man who does not know anything. Now, does anyone keep horses in a cow shed? With a smile. Now, to Pandita specifically, you have become like a chana bada. This is maybe in Bengal, but I saw this in Orissa. You have seen this chana bada. It is not rasgulla, it is chana bada. Very soft, very, very soft. Fried in butter. Now it will be good for you and for others as well if you are soaked in syrup a few days, just a few days. Okay, we give an example of jalebi usually. If jalebi is perfectly made in put and syrup and apply little pressure, then it will complete the process. So, chana vada. If you are soaked in syrup a few days, just a few days, now at this point, Pandit feels it has become difficult for him. So he says, smiling, the sweetmeat is overfried. It has become charred. About himself, he feels like that, but Thakur sees the reality. So Sri Ramakrishna, master with a laugh, no, it is brown as a cockroach. The fit color of chana vada. Just the right color. Hazra. Now Hazra is telling the meaning of this. The sweet meat is well cooked, it has become spongy, now it will soak up the syrup nicely. Master, you see, there is no need to read too much of the scripture, so now stop that. If you read too much, you will be inclined to reason and argue. Nangta used to teach me thus. So, Nangta is a real Jnani. So, he is teaching rightly. What you get by repeating the word Gita 10 times is the essence of the book. In other words, if you repeat Gita 10 times, it is reversed into Tagi, which indicates renunciation. Tagi is Tagi in Bengali pronunciation. But Nangta taught like that. It is a little new thing. So this is not Thakur's thought. This is from Totapuri. Yes, the way to realize God is through discrimination, renunciation, and yearning for Him. Repeated. What kind of reasoning? Yearning? One should yearn for God as the cow, which with yearning heart runs after its calf. This is a Vedic thing. Cow, when it comes back in the evening from the grazing grass, and the calf is tied in the cowshed. So she runs, cries, shouts to the calf to feed him. So this is given in the Vedas as a simile of how Bhakta craves for God. So it is something like the Vatsalya Bhava of the Vaishnavas. The mother's yearning for the child. And that Thakur is telling like yearning like this. So in Thakur we find everything is reconciled. Pandit says the same thing is said in the Vedas. He knows that scripture. Oh God, we call on thee as the cow lows for the calf. Master, add your tears to your yearning. So add. That means it should become so deep. And if you can renounce everything through discrimination and dispassion, then you will be able to see God. Yearning, the same thing here in the order. Yearning and tears, that means intense yearning. Then renunciation, he had talked in place of Vairagya, the translation. But now discrimination and dispassion. Because renunciation is equated to tyag. By Viveka and Vairagya, renounce everything and yearning. So they are supreme. A little this side or that side will make you devotee or jnani. That yearning brings about God intoxication. Whether you follow the path of knowledge, that is what I thought. Whether you follow the path of knowledge or devotion, these three things are essential. Discrimination, dispassion, and yearning. Add tears to that yearning. And tyaga out of discrimination and dispassion. The sage Durvasa was mad with the knowledge of God. So Durvasa's example is there about Jnanonmatta. There is an example. Okay. There is a great deal of difference between the knowledge of a householder and that of an all-renouncing sannyasi. Because the householder has not followed the tyaga part. The householder's knowledge is like the light of a lamp, which illumines only the inside of a room. He cannot see anything with the help of such knowledge except his own body and his immediate family. Awareness only, not that seeing these as Brahman or anything. But the light is weak, he can see his own body and his family. But the knowledge of the all-renouncing monk is like the light of the sun. Through that light, he can see both inside and outside the room. Chaitanya Deva's knowledge had the brilliance of the sun of knowledge. So we think of Chaitanya Deva only as bhakti. But Thakur tells he is full of knowledge like the sun. Further, he radiated the soothing light of the moon of devotion. Thakur similes. Sun like his knowledge, but radiated moon-like devotion, cooling, smooth. He was endowed with both the knowledge of Brahman and ecstatic love of God. So he had full knowledge of Brahman and he was ecstatic love of God. To the Pandit, specifically. One can attain spiritual consciousness through both affirmation and negation. Iti also is a path, may be called path of bhakti. Negation is also a path of knowledge. And affirmation is told in the Kathopanishad, Asti tevopalabdavyam tattva bhavena chobhayo, Asti tevopalabdasya tattva bhava prasidati. One should know God exists and one should also know the real nature of God. If you hold on to God exists, the real nature of God also will be revealed to you. There is the positive path of love and devotion, and there is the negative path of knowledge and discrimination. Thakur is putting both on the same level and as alternate or even mixture of both. You are preaching the path of knowledge. but that creates a very difficult situation. There the Guru and the disciple do not see each other in the actual knowledge. Shukadeva went to Janaka for instruction about the knowledge of Brahman. Janaka said to him, "You must pay me the Guru's fees beforehand. When you attain the knowledge of Brahman, you won't pay me the fee because the knower of Brahman sees no difference between the Guru and the disciple." It is a legendary story. Both negation and affirmation are ways to realize one and the same goal. Infinite are the opinions and infinite are the ways. Opinions means philosophies. But you must remember one thing. The injunction is that the path of devotion described by Narada is best suited to the Kali Yuga. Injunction is কিন্তু একটি কথা আছে in Vedanta, but there is one saying. So that is called injunction. In between we did not explain. Narayan Shastri was a scholar to begin with, but including scholasticism, he was a keen sadhaka. And he had the mastery over the 5 systems of philosophy. And because the Nyaya system is specially developed in Bengal, he had come to Bengal. And after completing that, he was to go back to his house in Rajasthan. But he thought that let me complete the pilgrimage in this area before going home. And in that way, he came to Dakshineshwar. And because of his nature of a sadhaka, he could recognize Sri Ramakrishna that whatever states we have studied in the scriptures are found in this. So to get the real meaning of scriptures, I have to live with him. Otherwise, we cannot get the real meaning of scriptures. Oh, this tallies with what my teacher said. That the meaning of scriptural words are not found in dictionaries, they are found in the experiences of Mahapurushas. So that is what Narayan Shastri found. And while living with Thakur, he became full of vairagya. He wanted to realize God. He did not want to go back to his house at all. And he begged Thakur for giving him sannyasa. And Thakur had to give him. And with that, he went to Vashishta Guha beyond Rishikesh and lived there, passed away there only. That Narayan Shastri's example, Thakur giving, that Narayan Shastri said like that, harmful effect of the study of scriptures is that it encourages reasoning and arguing. He had undergone through that. But because of company with Thakur, he had come out of it. And then we are proceeding further. We went to Bengal to see the injunction is that the path of devotion described by Narada is best suited to the Kali Yuga. There is injunction, but there is a talk. But the saying is, according to this path, first comes bhakti, then bhava. When bhakti is mature, bhakti itself changes into bhava. Higher than bhava are mahabhava and prema. An ordinary mortal does not attain mahabhava and prema. That is according to that particular system. So definition of word definitely changes. He who has achieved these has realized the goal, that is to say, has attained God. Bhava, Mahabhava, Prem, then attainment of God. Pandit, in expounding religion, one has to use a great many words. Master, while preaching, eliminate the head and tail, that is to say, emphasize only the essential. Need not beat about the bush at all. As Thakur is talking directly of everything. So why in preaching you have to go roundabout? The Pandit and Mani Mallik became engaged in conversation. Mind was diverted by Mani Mallik Brahma. Mani was a member of the Brahma Samaj. The Pandit argued vehemently about the good and bad sides of the Samaj. Sri Ramakrishna was seated on the small coach and looked on, smiling. Presently he remarked, this is the tamasic aspect of Sattva, the attitude of a hero. This is necessary. One should not hold one's tongue at the sight of injustice and untruth. Suppose a bad woman wants to drag you from the path of righteousness. You must then assume the heroic attitude and say, what? You witch? You dare injure my spiritual life? I shall cut your body in two right now. So appearance very harsh and cruel. But that is to save oneself from the bad effects of company and other things. With a smile, Sri Ramakrishna said to the Pandit, Mani Mallik has been following the tenets of the Brahma Samaj a long time. You can't convert him to your views. Because Pandit was supporting the orthodox Hinduism and Mani Mallik the reformed so-called Hinduism. That is the difference. It is an easy thing to destroy. Is it an easy thing to destroy old tendencies? Once there lived a very pious Hindu, beautiful example Thakur is giving, who always worshipped the Divine Mother and chanted her name. Beautiful example, when the Muslims conquered the country, they forced him to embrace Islam. They said to him, you are now a Muslim, say Allah. From now on, you must repeat only the name of Allah. With great difficulty, he repeated the word Allah, but every now and then blurted out Jagadamba. At that, the Muslims were about to beat him. Thereupon he said to them, I beseech you, please do not kill me. I have been trying my utmost to repeat the name of Allah. But our Jagadamba has filled me up to the throat. She pushes out your Allah. So that is the old spiritual sanskaras. To the Pandit, please don't say anything to Mani Mallik. You must know that there are different tastes. So argument is of no use. There are also different powers of digestion. God has made different religions and creeds to suit different aspirants. So creation of every path is due to God. By no means all are fit for the knowledge of Brahman. Therefore, the worship of God with form has been provided by God. So that is the greatest contribution of Sri Ramakrishna. Respect all faiths. Don't follow them, but respect all faiths because God has created all the faiths, not man. The mother brings home a fish for her children. In translations, that might have become potato. She carries part of the fish, part she curries part of the fish, part she fries, and with another part she makes pilau. By no means all can digest the pilau. So she makes fish soup for those who have weak stomachs. Further, some want pickled or fried fish. These are different temperament. So two things differentiate two sadhakas. One is different taste and one is the different levels. So something can be digested, something cannot be, something is liked and something not. There are different temperaments, there are differences in the capacity to comprehend. Different temperament, different capacity to comprehend. All sat in silence. Sri Ramakrishna said to the Pandit, go and visit the temples and take a stroll in the garden. That means enough of discussion by now. Enough. It was about 5:30 in the afternoon. The Pandit left the room with his friends and several of the devotees. So, that topic of the Pandit is closed for the present. Then again, it will be resumed, concluded, but we can stop here. We are learning many new things. Om तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना ॐ शान्ति 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 हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु.